This is Rob Liefeld. Kai Review is going down.
Hey guys, just finished watching Swamp Thing, Season 1, Episode 6, The Price You Pay. Wow, what an interesting episode. So, this episode was really good. I think there was a few things in the last couple of episodes, or already in the season, that I've started to notice that were kind of the signs of them getting shut down a bit early and not getting to finish things. You know, there's a couple of I think in the second episode or something, or third episode, there was a couple of shots where you could see some reflections of the crew in items, right? And there was nothing in here like that I couldn't see, that wasn't that obvious. And then there was another episode where there's kind of some lighting issues and stuff, and it seems like there's a little bit something else like that in this episode, throughout the episode a little bit with Swamp Thing. The lighting just seemed a little bit kind of off sometimes in the swamp. At least most of those times seemed like it wasn't with actual Swamp Thing in the shot, so that was really cool. And obviously every time you have your main character, you want to have him looking, they're going to put most of the time into every shot that has him in it, right, to making that look as good as possible. So but it wasn't as glaringly obvious as it was in the last episode, how the lighting was completely off and they didn't have time to put on a filter to darken up the scene. It just seemed a little bit too late, that they would have probably liked to have just darkened it a little bit in post. They just didn't get around to doing that. And I think for those scenes, they really didn't need it. And it was it's not as noticeable in this thing. It is kind of very easily to not notice at all in this one. So this episode was very, very good and still kind of perfect. So we see that Swamp Thing, we start out the episode with him being hunted, because we ended last episode with Avery Sunderland. We see Jason Woodrue told Avery Sunderland, I need to get this creature, I need to kind of study him. So we see that he's being hunted. And he's being hunted by these guys, and they're shooting him and stuff, and he's getting shot at, and he's waiting for him to use some vines to kind of attack people and stuff, but instead he just kind of punches or touches the trees, and they kind of launch the thorns at him, or splinters of the trees just get launched and stuff. That was really cool seeing that. I mean, I imagine if they had a bigger budget, they could have had him just do that in full and just destroy them. I think it was interesting, the idea that they're trying to play. They're trying to play the idea of him kind of slowly losing control and stuff. In the comic books, if I'm not mistaken, Swamp Thing is not Alex Holland. He just has all of Alex Holland's memories and consciousness and all that stuff. So it's not exactly Alex Holland. It's just a copy of him that the Swamp made, right? So I think that could be something really cool to see if they decide to go with that route. We'll have to wait and see if they do that. And who knows if that was the original plan. But to simplify it, they might just say, yeah, it's still Alex Holland when they get to cut down to 10 episodes instead of 13, right? So we'll have to wait and see as to where things go, but I think so far I really liked it. We see that Abby, she finds the victims and stuff for the hunters, the hospital full of thorns and stuff, full of, giant pieces of splinters and stuff. That was really cool. And then we see that, so she thinks that, the Swamp Thing's losing control, so she goes after him. That was really cool. And we see that Matt Cable, so the guy who's kind of in love with Abby and daughter, he's a son of the sheriff, and we find out that he shot and killed Alec Holland. I say killed, like I said, because in the comic books he's Swamp Thing is not actually Alec Holland. It's just a copy of his consciousness, his memories, and things like that. So I think that's really interesting. You're going to see if they end up playing with that, or if they just kind of cut that for time. I feel like that's something at this point, depends on where they set that up and they start to tease that. I think they might cut something complicated like that out and just stick with, he's actually Alec Holland for this season. So we'll have to wait and see as to where things go, or how things kind of go with that storyline, if we get to dive into that, because I feel like that's something that's kind of a nice reveal for episode 10. If they had actually gotten to 13, that could have been a good reveal for them to play with that and leave that to simmer for the next season, to reveal that he's not actually Alec Holland. Maybe the original ending of 13, if they had to leave it open for a season 2, would be to reveal that Alec Holland is finding his actual body, that it's Swamp Thing is not actually Alec Holland. That could be something cool to go in for season 2, but with it getting cut from 13 to 10, we're probably not going to get that storyline. So we see that Jason Woodrue puts Daniel, put something in Daniel's IV bag to kind of heal him and stuff. Daniel's the guy who's been playing the Blue Devil and stuff, so that's really cool. That is really cool seeing that storyline. We see that Daniel ends up kind of heating up and he catches on fire type thing. He's almost about to catch on fire, but not catching on fire and stuff. So his storyline was really cool. So dealing with that. Disappointing we're not getting a spin-off with that. I think it's clear that they were setting up a spin-off with this character. We see that Matt meets Swamp Thing later on in the woods and stuff, so that's going to be interesting to see where things go with that, especially since, it looks like Swamp Thing obviously doesn't remember that Matt's the one who shot and killed Alec Holland and stuff, but it won't be long. He'll probably figure it out since he can see the... he could see the rot. He could see what the trees saw. It's going to be interesting to see as to where he kind of figures it out, and then finally kind of is able to kind of touch the trees and sees that Matt was the one who shot him type thing, and then eventually showing that to Abby. That could be something cool to see as to where things go with that storyline. And then we see that Matt, or we assume that he tells his mother type thing about Alec Holland still being alive as the Swamp Thing. At least that's where we ended his storyline in this episode with him talking to his mother. So I think that's probably going to be cool to see as to where things go with that. Then we see that Abby Arcane sees Swamp Thing as Alec Holland, Swamp Thing. They're in Alec's office, his lab, and he kind of grows a flower type thing, and then it kind of leaves some stuff in the air, and I guess she's hallucinating now, seeing him as Alec Holland, which is quite interesting dealing with that. If they end up going with the route of, it looks like she's kind of hallucinating it, but the show could pull a fast one on us and making it think that she's hallucinating it at this point, and then revealing at the beginning of the next episode that he's actually kind of there. That could be something quite trippy to play with. But I'm still going to stick with the idea, and I think it's, she's just hallucinating it from the flowers and stuff, and I think that could be something interesting to play with, especially later on. As more people are sent out to hunt him, we might see Matt and his mother there kind of going after Swamp Thing or something like that. Maybe framing Swamp Thing for something. Definitely we're going to probably see Woodrew, Avery Sunderland sending some more people after him, so that would definitely be cool to see as to where things kind of go with all that and how things kind of continue on with that storyline. And him using this power, if he's able to control it, we'll see how it works. But to kind of trick people into seeing different things by, making them hallucinate could be quite fun. So all in all, I'm really excited to see as to where things go with this. I really love this show, and think it's even with some of the faults right here. So far, we're episode 6, and I can only count like three big things that kind of stood out for me as problems on set. There are things that kind of like, oh my god, that went through, mistakes that got left in and stuff because of the production problems. And they're not even big things that kind of take you out of the episode. They only took me out of the episode because I know about the production problems, and maybe if you're watching it you might notice some of them, but they don't really kind of ruin the episodes or anything. It's just, oh wow, that got slipped up, that left in. If you didn't know about the subject, if you're just watching this years later, you didn't know about the problems on set, you might just notice those things as if like, oh cool, that's interesting that slipped through, and you just keep moving on. Really doesn't kind of ruin the episode too much. But so I'm really excited to see as to where things go in the next 4 episodes that we have left for this show. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. Season 1, Episode 6, The Price You Pay. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
We're here for Kyle Reviewed on YouTube. The very best Kyle Reviewed channel on all the YouTube Kyle Reviewed channels. You got that? You got that right? Thank you for watching Kyle Reviewed. Deadpool and I thought it was fantastic. You need to like. You need to subscribe. You know how it's done. Like, subscribe. Right, DP? All right. Kyle Reviewed. Cool channel.